All right, here we are in Ko Samui in Thailand. We are just getting off of this beautiful Celebrtiy Solstice. As you can see, this is a tender port. Not too bad of a tender. It was about a 15-minute ride in. Now, we were a little bit nervous on this particular one because we didn't have that long in port, and Julie really wanted to go to the elephant sanctuary, and we were nervous we wouldn't have time to make it. So we ended up doing not only a ship tour, but we did a private one, and we really didn't need to. We could have just done a private tour ourselves, gone ashore on the tender. As you'll see, there were plenty of people to meet us, and we could have saved ourselves a lot of money for what it's worth. So if you're one of those people that likes to do ship tours, that's obviously fine. But if you like to do the non-ship tours, you totally could if you timed it right here, I promise you. But we didn't. We did a private tour with Celebrtiy. There's our wonderful guy, Bam Bam, who I was very happy we had. He was amazing, meeting us there, taking us to our driver, Mr. Oak. And we went off to do a little tour of the island. Because as you can see, if you just wanted to do the elephant sanctuary, you had plenty of time to do it, because we got to do a lot of other things as well in the time we had. And we were back on the ship at least an hour before they were due to leave. But first, Bam Bam took us to the Bophut Fisherman's Village, and there's the beach there. I believe it's pronounced Bophut, is B-O-P-H-U-T. If I pronounced that wrong, I apologize. Put it in the comments, but I think that's how you spell it. I would imagine this got quite crowded later on. It was very early in the morning when we were here, probably about 7:45, 8 o'clock. But our main place we wanted to go to was the Samui Elephant Sanctuary. Now, there are more than one on the island, and I don't know about the other ones. So if you are looking and you are watching this video, make sure this is the same one that you are going to, because there are different ones. But we love this one. They gave this video presentation at the beginning, which makes it very clear it was a sanctuary for rescued elephants that had been held in captivity. And the elephants seemed to be very well treated, and they had a big, wide open space to stay in. It was a very interactive presentation. They showed us all the food that we were going to feed the elephants, because we actually got to walk out into the sanctuary with them. So this is all the food they were going to prepare. And there was one of the staff there showing us how to prepare the food. Then we all got to go up preparing it, and then we actually fed some elephants right there, and then we walked out into the sanctuary and interacted with the elephants directly. Always be very aware around elephants, as calm as they may be. they are wild animals, but on this particular day I felt no fear or threat from any of them, and it seemed very, very well run and professionally run. Sometimes when you go to some of these countries, you are a little bit wary of how they treat the animals, to be honest. But this place, I felt like they treated them excellently. Who knows, I could be wrong, but I just got the impression this is one of the better places we went to. On a beautiful island too. They say Ko Samui is like kind of second to Phuket in popularity for a beach resort in Thailand. So here's Julie preparing some of the food in her elephant pants, and here comes Bam Bam. I think he was as excited as we were to be here. And we were all ready. And then they showed us how to make a different type. So that was one of the types of foods that we've had. That was basically a banana in a banana leaf. And then they had these other little concoctions we made up to feed them. So we had, Julie had a chance of making them. And then individually we got to feed them at the edge here. But in a moment we're going to walk out. And Bam Bam had a go even. There was some watermelon. I guess different elephants had different dietary. A lot of them wouldn't touch the watermelon, but this one liked it. And there's Julie having another go at feeding. And then we all went out. Now, it seems like a lot of people, but they split us into 3 groups. So we all went to different stations, so it was never too crowded. They gave us a little bag you can maybe see on Julie's shoulder there with a load of the food to give to them. And then everybody took it in turns to feed the elephants at each station and get pictures and everything. Obviously, the elephants knew it was feeding time because they all came over. But as you can see, very peaceful. No threat from the animals, it seemed, whatsoever. They seemed very calm and relaxed. They weren't making a lot of distressed noises that I've heard before elephants make when they're not happy. So it seemed like a very calm, peaceful place. I can't recommend it enough. All my fears, not that I had many, were put to rest when we got here. So we had loads of food at all the stops to feed them, as you can see. But again, I stress, this is the elephant sanctuary. There are more than one place. There is more than one place to go on Ko Samui. So hope you're not watching this video when you're going somewhere else, as they say. And then afterwards, we all got to stand back and watch a couple of the elephants come out and play in the water. I guess what they do is when they finish feeding everybody, they see which ones are still the most active, and they bring them out, because sometimes they eat so much food, they're fed so much food, they just want to relax. and they're not into doing all this stuff. But these two were up for it, so they came in and played in the water for a little bit. And we sat and watched them for like 10-15 minutes or so, I reckon. Maybe not quite that much. The whole experience is probably between 2 and 2.5 hours, I would say, after we got there to when we left. So once the elephants had finished playing in the water, they all got out and went to this little mud bath here and played around there for a while. So we just watched for a little bit. There was no set time to leave. We could have stayed longer if we wanted to. But Bam Bam, our guide, wanted to take us and show us some of the other sites of Ko Samui. Specifically, we went to and if I pronounce this correctly, it'd be a miracle, the Wat Phra Yai temple, which had the big Buddha, amongst other things, that we'll show you in a second. So yeah, it was a really enjoyable day. We had a lot of fun hanging out at this area. I felt very happy to be here. We tried to sponsor one of the elephants after this, but they couldn't do it there. They said to go through the website, and it was just so complicated. We ended up not being able to do it, but we did try. So and afterwards they actually had a meal that everybody could sit and eat, but we chose not to eat the meal because we wanted to eat at a proper restaurant, and the meal was part of the cost. But we'd seen it didn't look great, so we bypassed the meal and we went on a tour around here. Again, this is the Wat Phra Yai area, or the big Buddha temple area. They are big Buddhas, aren't they? So and really impressive that we could get so close, about 4,000 people, which in our experience at ports up to this was impossible, because these were always so crowded. You would never get pictures like this without people all around. And they had these giant catfish that you could feed. They would all come up to the water. It was pretty impressive as well. You see the size of them? And then just looking around some of the beautiful structures that they have here. That's the big Buddha. Big Buddha. The happy, laughing Buddha. So yeah, so this is very impressive area to look around, isn't it? Very pristinely kept. And unfortunately, that one was in scaffolding. It would have been really nice if it wasn't. But what can you do? If it has to be repaired, it has to be repaired. So yeah, we had a really good day all around in Ko Samui. I wish we'd had more time. It's a place I could go back to and spend a few days, actually. And like I said, they say second to Phuket is one of the nicer islands in Thailand to go to. We went to this restaurant. As you can see, a lot of pictures of the food. We wanted some authentic local food, and that is what we got. Of course, we fed our Bam Bam, our guide, and I had some local beer, as I always try to do. And then a few more pictures of our day just walking around, and I'll show you a couple of unfortunate pictures. That's back at the port. There's Mr. Oak and Bam Bam. Take a look at the next picture, bottom right. That was the toilets on that boat going back to the ship, and that is a very unfortunately timed picture of an elephant and me. Leave that there. So now we're heading back to the ship. I will say, once we got back to the port, there were a lot of people there. We went back at kind of peak time for a tender, so you could be exposed if you couldn't get under that blue awning there, and there was like one line under there. It was a bit of a Disney ride line. If you were outside of that, you were exposed to the sun. There were plenty of people from the ship handing out water and cold towels and cold wet towels and stuff like that, but it was still very hot. So just be aware of that possibility if you come back at peak time. So and we were back on the lifeboat again going back, which we deliberately tried to do because the boat I showed you before with the interesting restrooms, there was going to be a lot of people on that. And if you're like me, you want to go back on the smallest ship and know where the most likely place it's going to drop you off at the boat is, or the ship is, so you can be one of the first off. Because the worst part for me about a tender, apart from the wait to get back on one at the end, is getting off at the ship, because you've got to go through security and all that good stuff. So I'm one of those geeks that always tries to time out where the best place to be would be, as it were, que sera, and get off the ship as quickly as possible. But we went back on this one because it was smaller, and we didn't want to be on one of the big ships. So that pretty much, I'll show you a couple more clips of us getting back to the ship, but that pretty much wraps up our look at Ko Samui. Hope that was helpful for you, and I hope it made you want to go. We really enjoyed our time there. I wish we'd had a bit longer. It was one of the nicer ports we went to, and it was certainly nice to be close to the port and not have to drive about 2 hours to get to whatever city that we wanted to get to. So as you can see us here coming back up to Celebrtiy Solstice. We'll wrap this little video up. Again, the one thing I would stress is you have more time than you might think in port. It may not seem like a long time and you're in a strange foreign country, But if you're comfortable with that, you certainly could get the tender boat as early as possible going ashore. Just time it so you can, and then you'd have plenty of time to do whatever tour you wanted to do. So there you are. That is our little walk guide tour around Ko Samui. Big thanks to Bam Bam and Mr. Oak for a wonderful tour. We really enjoyed it, and maybe one day we'll be back. Plenty of places to go, but this is one of those I would go back to. Ko Samui in Thailand. Any questions? Email me anytime. cruisingsuitguy@gmail.com. I promise I'll reply as soon as possible. Want to book a cruise or any type of travel? We are travel agents. Check out our site, elitetravelconnection.com, or email me, Mick, at elitetravelconnection.com. We are here for you. Finally, subscribe, please. Pretty please. You know you want to. Go on. I won't beg you. Okay, I'm begging. Please. Subscribe! Thank you.